Dana, what's going on? Or should I call you Lone Ranger?
Lone Ranger.
The
Yeah,
Lone Dana.
that is more accurate than I need to get into right now.
I have forgotten everything about the Lone Ranger except that he wasn't technically alone. Who was this?
Right.
That would that be me? Would I would I be the and did he ride around on a donkey or am I thinking of Al Kabong again?
No, he rode around on Silver, the white horse.
No, who did his friend ride on?
Tonto.
Yeah.
Tonto rode a pinto horse named Gout, maybe.
Wow. Say hello to my horse.
I think you're thinking of Don Quixote. Sancho Panza rode a donkey. I can't remember his name,
Mhm.
but Don Quixote's horse was named Rocinante. I can't remember the name of the donkey.
I'm impressed you remember this much. I don't recall any of this. I don't remember the music. That's about it. And the terrible movie that had Johnny Depp in it.
Oh yeah, yeah, that movie was not good.
But I guess some people would say, oh, which one? But I like Johnny Depp as like overall. He's a good
Right,
guy. Leave him alone, people.
leave him alone. Rango was awesome.
Oh, Rango was so good.
The animation of that movie was far superior than most things, especially at the time. Rango was a good movie. I enjoyed
The
it.
the
Great cast, great animation, great story. No
the,
notes.
the rattlesnake villain with the rotating machine gun tail
Right?
deserves a toy, and we should talk about that on Two Guys Talking Toys.
We should. And expertly voiced by Bill Nighy, wasn't it? Who did the voice of
I
the
think
rattlesnake?
so. I think
Yeah.
so. We deserve a toy. If maybe one exists and I just don't recall because I was not
No,
looking
we
for
never had
it.
Rango toys that I'm aware of, and we should have them.
That's
Speaking of toys that we deserve, Tom, did you get anything good this week?
oh so remember last week when I
It's
was talking
story
about,
time, kids.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to story time. Viewers and subscribers, this is what makes the count either go up or go down. Not quite sure which. They'll be like, oh, here we go. It's story time. Well, I'm gonna find another story that I enjoy. But last week when I mentioned the that eBay seller that I found, this discount store where I'd gotten so bad that I was just buying stuff sight unseen where their listing didn't have an actual
Right,
photo.
the vagaries. You were
Yeah,
purchasing just vague statements like toy.
yeah, just six inch toy. It's like it's got to be something interesting, right? So I had already purchased, and I'd already purchased a Thundercats monkey in that's been popping up in Target, and they had another listing for it. Just said like Thundercats 6 inch assorted whatever, just like a super generic title, no picture, and I was like, why not? I'll either wind up with maybe another Monkian or possibly a Lion-O, a very vitamin D deprived Lion-O.
Right.
So on this week, what's in the package? I haven't opened any of them honestly. So this is going to be one a confirmation to see whether or not they actually sent me Monkian, or if it's just another bag of Play-Doh because that has happened.
And you have your skizzers handy to open it
Yes,
with, which
no
is nice.
more, no more using USB ports or like the edge of a tape roll or anything actual, and an object that's meant to open things.
An actual cutting tool.
All right, what do we got? What have we got?
It's Thundercats, officially licensed.
Hey,
It's
so,
Monkey in.
all right, so we got one monkey in. He's not bad. See this is pretty good, and I don't know for the they're decent prices in Target. Like I guess
Yeah,
20,
that's a pretty good monkey in. That's not bad
yeah.
at all.
So like 29, it's different enough from like the regular release that you're getting monkey in. You're not getting a million hands. You're not getting 12 heads. He comes with just a mace but it's an actual chain. So that's not
That's
bad.
cool. You know, when you first took
Right?
them out, when you first ripped them out of the envelope, and
Uh,
I saw the helmet and what looked like a white beard, I thought
uh,
it was Jaga.
oh, that would have been funny if I got like a random, not meant to be released yet Jaga, and we broke that news and they're like, rando toy YouTube channel unveils.
It would be amazing. Our viewership would go up to 67 subscribers.
Oh, easily. That would be, we'd be swimming in subscribers at that point. One of them being an angry, it would include an angry email from Brian Flynn, who's like, "What are you doing with that?
Right.
I don't know. You tell
And
me.
there's gonna be like, send it back. It's our only prototype.
Do it now." I'm like, not unless you make a glow in the dark space Godzilla. You do it now. Because one of the other things,
That is a good ransom.
yeah. So even though this is going up on a Monday, we're technically recording this Sunday. Happy Godzilla Day, everybody!
That's right.
It's back. Go and watch it. It's already crossed $166 million since its re-release. I want that money to go up. And the director has been confirmed that he's making a sequel. What a great time to be a Godzilla fan. There's no better time than right now, in this era that we're in right now, to be a Godzilla fan. We're getting it all. We're getting toys, we're getting movies, we're getting sequels. You can't ask for anything more, except for perhaps another Thundercat that this time might be monkeying, or might not be monkeying. I got this the day after we did the show last week, and it's just been sitting here. I've been staring at it and staring at it, and I was like, "Oh, what is it? What's it gonna be? Is it Lino, or am I just gonna have two monkeyins?" Which would also be fine, but I am very
curious. Have a whole troop of monkeyins.
Here we go.
Or barrel. Oh, I should have said you'll have a barrel of monkeyins. Oh, it's Lino.
I actually got Lino. That's neat. Oh, he's so pale. He's so pale. He needs so much time in the tanning, but look at that. He's so
like, there's no clear, like, he usually has a clear line on his face and on his hands, you know.
Like, it's kind of there, but it's, man, wow.
He's got a weird, like, Sergeant Slaughter chin.
He does. There's a lot of cake on that chin. We'll say. Lionel, really, he's not skipping chin day. If that is in fact.
No, and you know what I liked? I was glad that when we saw Sergeant Slaughter at Comic-Con, which is the first time I've seen him in real life, that chin looks like that still.
It does. So maybe he'll be in the live action Thundercats. That's going to be a thing.
Sergeant Slaughter is Lionel? Yeah, that'd be a real
that would be amazing. Thundercats.
That would be a draw. That would be a draw.
Oh, I'm glad that I got Lino. I actually don't have, of all the Thundercats that I got from Super 7, I don't have Lino. Well, I take it back. I have the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, the one that color changed from
right.
From
the Frostbite guy.
Blue to, yeah, I have that one, but I don't have just a regular old Lino. So he'll do for now.
Yeah, with his big chin, and he looks a little peaked.
He'll stay under the sun lamp because he needs some help.
He needs a little peaked, Lionel.
He needs some vitamins. This was a terrible, awful, mean plan from Mumra to deprive him of the nutrients he needs to survive. So that was. I don't know what it says about that being like one of the most entertaining parts of my day. But how about you? What have you been up to? What have you gotten? Have you got anything new?
I did.
Is it pale? Does it need vitamins?
It needs something. So I got two classifieds. One I'm ecstatic about, and one,
Yeah.
So I got Raptor.
I thought I saw a wing pop on the frame.
Yeah. I like it, but you know what I don't like about it is that the original Raptor. I love how. Let me start with the positives. I love how articulated the wings are. You could do all kinds of cool things and move them and all kinds of stuff. But I don't like that it's just like, it feels like Falcon from the MCU.
Oh, okay, because of the kind of the almost a Vulture style mechanical.
Yeah, because the original. Yeah. So, well, we got the original. I like how his bird sits on his arm. It's got a little peg. Like, I love the bird cowl. I love that they stayed with that. His little faux hawk he's wearing. But the original had the cowl. He looked just like this, but his wings were like a cloth cape.
Okay, yeah.
And it attached to his wrists, right? So it was more like like a cape.
Yeah, It's comparing it to Marvel Legends Falcon is really apt because yeah, because like the movie version, everything's a mechanical something, and they took Red Wing away and they made him a drone. So that kind of carries over, I guess, into some of the more modern classified stuff. So like yeah, like it's
Yeah.
really cool, and it also carried over into like Vulture. Like Vulture's wings were now like a gigantic jetpack that was overly mechanical. So I can see where like there's something to be said for the old school. It's just wings. It's just yeah, like physical wings or like flappy wings, something non-mechanical.
Right. Like if you wanted to make him fly, he actually had to glide or
Yeah,
really flap.
yeah.
And and I played the character as somebody who was insane and actually thought he was a bird because he had the boots that looked like talons. Now he kind
Yeah.
of has talons painted on his boots, much
But
like the other one.
it's kind of a shame that he doesn't have like full-on actual like gripping claws attached to the
Right.
feet.
So I played the character as if he were a nutbag and he would like roost when everyone else was on duty in some guard duty or whatever. He would like
Uh,
roost up and he thought he was a bird and he would. So I made him kind of a nut job, but this guy doesn't have the nut job look about him. Like he looked like a crazy person. He was dressed like a bird and
it's it's
he
so
had no shirt on and
they,
these wings that attach to his like he looked like a crazy person.
they
So
found him in Times Square. They're like, just come back to base with us. Come back. Or he
right,
just followed them. They couldn't shake him. He just wandered off like Destro and the rest of the Cobra troops wandered off, and they're like, "Who's that guy? He just came with us. I thought he was with you."
right. I was dropping breadcrumbs for the pigeons and this guy showed up. But this guy doesn't look like a nutbag. Like I wanted him to look crazy. And
Yeah,
he
much more
just
of a
looks so military. Yeah, he looks so military. But I also got the
oh, very nice.
the retro commander and I love
Where'd you get him from?
the mirrored face.
Mhm.
Where'd I get him? I got him at Big Bad Toy Store.
Oh,
And
okay.
I love the retro guys. I wish they would have just done
Mhm,
these from the beginning. Although the Cobra Commander offerings that we've seen have been
mhm,
outstanding, but I also love like the old one had that weird. It wasn't a backpack. It was sculpted into his back, but his weird
mhm.
looking gun that
Yeah,
looks like a dust vac um, fit into the backpack, like stuck to his back,
yeah.
and he was the only one that had that kind of thing. So they recreated that as well. You
Oh,
could
that's
put the
neat.
gun on there. It doesn't go directly into his back like the old school one does, but
Yeah.
um, this is a very cool Cobra Commander. I love it.
Oh,
The mir
I love the metallic. The metallic they got just right.
yeah, that mirrored
Good
thing,
job.
absolutely perfect. So they knocked it out of the park with this Cobra Commander, as they have with all the Cobra Commanders, but this is the one I've always wanted, and then
Now,
they ruined Raptor for me.
now, how does he look compared to the? Have you checked out the one that came with the Cobra Hiss?
I haven't because I haven't even opened the box with the Cobra Hiss yet. Because once you got it from you, everything was coming down. So
Neither have I. Because I know one of the appeals or one of the stretch goals was, I guess, original Cobra Commander, but it had the Mickey Mouse, quote unquote Mickey Mouse error. And me
right,
not being, I'm not a Joe guy, so I didn't know what that meant.
right.
But like, would his setup and all of his tampos match that Cobra Commander?
I think it would match except for the emblem will be
Okay,
they do that different. But I haven't opened it yet, so
gotcha.
maybe one day. I also got the new Playmates Voltron,
Oh,
the whole thing, and it came in a neat little case, like all the
mhm.
Voltron stuff comes in, with the handle on it and stuff. So it's still I opened it, but I put it back in the case. So.
See, that was one of the things that I was running through in my considerations when I found the other four lions in Target.
Mhm.
Getting all four of them, like it'd be nice because I have the black line as well. So like, it'll be nice to make Voltron, but also that case that like
Yeah.
that was kind of in the back of my mind because it's nice and handy. You can take them out, build them, whatever, but then you can store them away if you really need to. And the case is probably really nice, so it's really kind of a tough call.
Right. I hate when figures come in a cool box because like
Yeah.
those the cereal characters that I got.
Hmm.
The boxes are so cool because it looks like the cereal box, especially the Blueberry one because the
Yeah.
box also glows in the dark.
And you know what? You know what they have to do now? Because the most recent box of Blueberry, oh, you know what? Hold on.
Wow.
Because I can never resist. I can never resist getting Blueberry when it comes out because it's my favorite flavor.
Oh yeah. You
But
can only get it around Halloween.
he has a cat now.
Oh.
Blueberry has a little cat. And I knew there was a reason I love Blueberry more than the other monster
Yeah, but where
cereal
did he get a
people.
dead cat? Did he
No
kill it?
clue. Or
Did
they're
he
all
need a
over the place. They're
well,
like everywhere. just he
I
probably
guess
just
that's true.
found one somewhere and it followed him home. And this just proves that the cat allocation system works whether you're alive or dead.
Right.
He didn't go and find this cat. I bet you this cat found him. He just came home one day and it was just waiting for him. And he was like, oh,
It's
any
like, hey, that
Blueberry.
cat wears the same hat I do.
Yep, I bet he named him. I bet he named him Boo. It's just because. But
But
they
the
now they
blueberry box glows in the dark, and then the little blueberry box that the blueberry comes with
oh,
also glows in the dark, just
oh
like the
that's
big one.
so good. That's so good. Now they need to make a Blueberry cat
Yeah,
that also glows in the dark because that's excellent, and I love it. So,
indeed.
so speaking of things that glow in the dark,
Okay.
right before, a couple days ago was Halloween,
Yes.
one of the greatest days because when else can you wander around and just say "Give me candy" and they give it to you?
Right.
Not bad. How many other times is it perfectly acceptable to see a 7 or 8 foot skeleton just hanging out in the driveway? Love
That's not
it. So this week I want to talk about Halloween toys, spooky,
Halloween.
scary, spooky, scary toys, Halloween based toys, or well, I don't know. Do we want to do specifically Halloween, or do you want to open that up for holiday toys? I'm up for either or.
Uh, whatever you want.
You know, let's open it up. Let's do holiday toys. Because that way we can. I think there's maybe only like 1 or 2 holidays that we
Okay.
do an entire episode on, but I think if we kind of spread it out,
Okay.
that'll help and close a whole episode. So let's do
Uh,
holiday.
okay. So Halloween first. Is that where we're starting from?
Yes, because yeah, the first thing to come to mind, which we haven't had really up until recently, Michael Myers.
Right.
So we'll start with the main franchise, and I think the first actual Michael Myers toy, quote unquote toy that I can think of, I got from was it a Hot Topic? I don't remember if it was a Hot Topic or Spencer's, but it was a maybe like a foot and a half tall version of Michael Myers, and it was just like a little miniature version of him. It had the real hair, and when you press the button on it, it played the Halloween theme. And it was
So it wasn't one of the NECA like
no,
quarter
it was
one
no,
quarter
this
scale, right? No?
no, this was like the early 2000s where I first found this. I don't remember the name of the company that made it, um,
Interesting.
but it was around the time that people were just starting to discover or starting to realize, hey, not only do I like the movies, maybe I'd like a little something else to have around the house.
Right.
And
And that's interesting because I guess it was right around 99, 2000 when McFarlane did his first run at the movie Maniacs, right?
yes, yeah, because I think he did what he did Scream. I think he did the Blair Witch,
He
which
did a lot. He did a lot of Blair
yeah,
Witch. He did a lot of like some. I mean, he did all the main guys, right? He did Michael
mhm,
Myers,
yeah,
and I remember my older brother who, talking about horror movies. Man, he'd be good to have on here. Derek is a
mhm,
horror movie guy.
mhm,
Big Michael Myers, Leatherface, like he knows the whole story and the
yeah.
history. Um, I remember him getting the Michael Myers, and they were not good. They didn't like it was the waist could turn and they
Yeah,
didn't have jointed legs, right?
yeah,
And they were pre-posed so they can kind of do this stuff.
yeah. There wasn't a whole lot. It was when they were still trying to figure out articulation, but you can't run those kinds of tests when your plastic is garbage. Like you don't know if they're
Way
going
to way
to
to
hold
put
up.
that nicely.
It's, it was just, and I to this day I still do not understand what was happening at McFarlane Toys, or what was
Right.
happening at the factory that he had chosen, where
We
they went
used we
from
used to joke because they
uh,
would just fall apart when you opened
yeah,
them, that they were made out of
it,
plastique. They would
yeah,
just explode.
it was not, and that was a common thing. And I remember the first time I heard the term exploding joint was from McFarlane stuff,
McFarlane,
because
yeah.
you didn't know whether or not your figure is going to be safe to just pull out of the plastic insert. And then NECA took that title because they were putting out some
Right. Yeah.
real
It was like
quick
playing
stuff for a while.
Operation, getting him out of there.
Yeah. So
But he had some good stuff. Like they looked great.
yeah,
His
the
movie Maniacs. My two
sculpting
favorites from that
sculpting is always
line.
top notch.
Yeah, I mean, he did Leatherface, he did Michael
Mhm.
Myers, and he did Chucky, and like you said, he did Blair Witch, he did
Yeah.
Scream. My two favorites from that line were Pumpkinhead,
Yes.
which
Yes.
was a fantastic sculpt,
Mhm.
and the Legend Darkness figure, the Tim Curry
Oh,
figure from the movie Legend,
yeah.
the with the big horns
Mhm.
and the cloven feet.
Yeah.
Fantastic sculpt on that figure. He didn't stand up worth a tinker's damn, but uh
You
he
can't have
looked
it all.
really good.
You
Yeah,
can't
he
have it
he
all. You can
did
always,
look fantastic.
it was always a monkey's paw situation where it's like, I want it to look good. I want the paint to be really nice, and I want it to be a decent size. And then and it's
Yeah.
like, that's your three wishes. And you're like, can I just have one more? I want him
Yeah.
stable. I want him to be able to stand. No,
Speaking of three wishes, he
you
also
use
did
them up.
Wishmaster.
Oh, did he do Wishmaster?
He did Wishmaster
Wow.
and the Tooth Fairy. Like he did some deep cut stuff.
Oh my lord, the Tooth Fairy. I
Yeah.
forgot about that awful, awful movie. Although
Yeah, it
I
was
guess,
pretty bad.
I guess to be fair to that film, I will give it credit for this. Sound design on that movie was excellent because I saw it in the theater, and
Yeah.
I'm almost ashamed to admit that I paid theater money, the theater prices to go and see it. But there's a scene in that film where they're out in the woods, and the Tooth Fairy creature thing is going from like to your right to your left, and the way the sound worked, you really could hear like the screeching all the way to the right, and then it almost seemed like it traveled across the theater to the left. And
Huh.
it was really impressive. It was really effective. And then the main character beats her with a shoryuken in a lighthouse. So
Yeah. Well, that's how it goes
spoilers,
sometimes. Yeah.
spoilers for for like a 20-year-old movie, but that's what you got going on there.
Yeah, but he pulled a couple of deep cuts, and I think that was the only species figure that we
Yeah, yeah.
got.
Because I don't think anyone else has done one. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't. I like
Why would they?
and
Because it's like the monster version or the naked version. You really
but
naked
nowadays,
human or naked monster. You could probably get away with the naked monster. Otherwise, you're
nowadays,
selling to a different
why
market.
not?
Yeah. Yeah, those figures looked great. If you can get them out of the package in one piece and put them on a shelf and never touch them again,
Yep.
they were fantastic. He even did the two packs. He did
Mhm.
because he did all the Jasons, right, all the way
Yes.
up to Jason X or whatever.
Mhm.
And then he did the Jason versus Freddy two pack.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, and then I think he did an Alien v Predator two pack as well.
Mhm.
But
And we
there was more to that line than most people remember. He ran that for a while because then he did like Snake Plissken and Edward
Yeah.
Scissorhands, and like he moved away from the Maniacs from the
Yeah.
movie Maniacs. But he did some really good stuff in that.
And he started kind of getting veering off into the into like the Tortured Souls line where it was
And those were horrible.
yeah, it was very like he just rediscovered the Xenobites, and he was like, yeah, but what if all of
He
them?
did Pinhead. Yeah, he did Pinhead.
Yeah. Uh, it got a little weird. So once he started going from that into the twisted
The
fairy
Twisted
tales,
Fairy Tale. Yeah.
yeah, it got a little weird. Definitely horror. So if
Right.
it's a good time if you were looking for. No one else was doing horror figures in
No.
that level of detail. So if that was what you were into, then Yeah, that was a
right.
good time to be collecting.
The only thing I could think of before that was the Universal monsters that we spoke of,
Yeah,
the Remco ones in '84, and then he did the Universal monsters his own version, but they weren't on that scale. They were a 4-inch bit, and they came with a whole playset. Like the Phantom of the Opera came with, um, I forget the other character's name, Raoul,
yeah,
and the organ that
yeah,
came with it, and the creature from Black Lagoon looked pretty cool, and he had a little old school Aquanaut with a big, you know, copper or brass helmet.
yeah.
Um, and they, he had some pretty cool things going on with the Universal guys too. But they were little though; they were only the 4-inch.
I I talking about the horror based action figures. I'm now I think I may have brought this up before. The figure that I actually remember before getting the Michael Myers was there was a figure that came out in the mid '90s. That I think was called like just Max, Maxx, and it was
The purple guy, Max.
no, it was he just looked like a guy. He was just like a regular dude with the
Okay.
almost Mego style jointing, but it was
Oh, was he 12 inches?
yeah, but he was like an
Okay.
effects artist. So there was a Freddy Krueger version of that where you got just regular Max, and then he came with a Freddy head. It was a two-part head. You would clip that over his regular head. Came with the hat. You had the glove, and he had an extra like gnarled hand that you could put on top of his other hand. The sweater, and you could turn him from like a stunt actor into Freddy Krueger.
Do
That,
vaguely remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
It was
really
almost
cool.
like Action Man, that
Yeah,
sort of concept.
it was very cool because there was also a second set that that turned him into the alien.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
I never had that one, but I remember being fascinated by the Freddy Krueger one. It was nigh impossible to get him to stand because of the nature of that kind of
Uh-huh.
body build, but he looked really cool, and it was neat that you could because around that time, I mean, it was a little bit later. We were up at that in the '90s. We were up to what, like Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Gosh, I don't know, 27, who
But
knows?
but if you felt like reenacting Nightmare on Elm Street 2 with the kid that was like morphing into Freddy against his
Yeah,
will,
yeah, yeah.
it was really cool for that. And that figure was awesome.
Wasn't
Well,
5 where Freddy was like torturing the production of the movie of Freddy
oh
Krueger?
no, that was New Nightmare. I did not appreciate that movie for a very long time.
I don't know who would.
Not my
It's,
favorite.
it's an idiotic concept.
If you're looking for like the best Freddy Krueger movie, you got to watch either Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, or Freddy versus Jason. Perfect movie. I'll hear no arguments against Freddy
I'm
versus
not.
Jason.
I'm not going to offer any. I know better. I know better. So yeah. So we had Movie Maniacs, and then we had a bit of a drought, right? Until NECA picked up the ball
Yeah, and then NECA got the line running and they
with
kind of tackled
articulation.
that. Hmm?
With articulation.
Yes, they jumped right into Friday the 13th. We got and kind of same thing with McFarlane. They started tackling all the different versions of Jason right up to
Right
the
off top. Yeah.
version that had the bag over his head. Um,
Yeah.
I don't remember if they have gotten to do Jason X. I'm not sure if they were able to do that one,
I know
but
the Movie Maniacs did, but I don't know
yeah,
that NECA did.
yeah, I don't know if they were able to get it. I don't know if it was a licensing thing, but they've done. I feel like they've done pretty much every other Jason.
Yeah, and then they also did some of the, not the big names. Of course they did Freddy and they did Michael Myers and they did Leatherface, but
Mhm.
they did House of a Thousand Corpses
Yes,
and Trick or Treat.
I'm very impressed with some of the deeper cuts that they've managed to do.
The Trick or Treat one looks really good. That figure
It's
looks like the fabric, the
mhm.
texture of the fabric looks really
Yeah,
good.
there's I see them do Elvira, and do her in
Yeah.
like multiple different outfits. Um, they've done the dog from The Thing, which is really impressive.
Yes, they did do the thing.
I do wish that dog was articulated.
Mm.
Not gonna lie, I do wish that you could maybe like pop some of the parts off and swap them out with Thing goo. But overall, pretty good job. I
Yeah,
I don't own a lot of them, admittedly, because I can't fall down that rabbit hole because I've already fallen down so many different types of rabbit holes. But it, I it is nice to just kind of admire. I do want to get the Freddy and Jason from Freddy versus Jason, but that's really
Yeah.
it.
I remember now that I have Movie Maniacs. I have uh where's my hand? Darkman right there.
Mhm.
And right there's Candyman.
Oh, very nice. Oh, that's right. Candyman's another one.
Yeah. One thing that NECA did that I can appreciate is they brought back play sets
Hmm.
with the horror. Like they did Frankenstein's Lab and
Yeah.
Dracula's Coffin. And they even did I vaguely remember there being a Texas Chainsaw Massacre setup with a dude on a like a crate table.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there's something.
Where then?
Yeah, vaguely remember that. But they brought play sets back
Hmm.
for 7-inch
Yeah.
figures, which it's very cool.
I don't know what the pricing on those are.
They cost about as much as one of the figures.
Oh, that's that's even better.
Yeah, they're not so bad.
They need to get on that for their Ninja Turtles line. Maybe bring that price down a little bit.
Yeah, the Frankenstein lab was a cool setup. It had a
Mhm.
couple little shelves and then of course the bed that was up that you could strap Frankenstein on. I
Now,
don't know if the lightning came with it, but
yeah, I know there was. I think there was like a glow in the dark option, or the place that had glow in the dark stuff to it.
yeah, yeah,
Which
I
make it
do
very
remember some
tempting.
glow in the dark. Yeah, of course, if it glows in the dark, you're gonna want to buy it. You know what else NECA did? The Toonie Terrors.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was curious. They were interesting. They're not my cup of tea, but it was nice to see them try something different.
I'll tell you why I'm interested in them, and I haven't bought any,
Hmm.
only because it would just be a goof on buying them because I think with their that kind of toony animated style,
Uh-huh.
they look perfect to put behind my Scooby Doo.
Oh,
Yes,
that's true.
they look just like the Scooby Doo villains. So to
If
have Scooby Doo there with the killer clowns from outer space,
oh, they did do a really good job on
they
the one.
did a fantastic. They did the big
Those,
ones, but they
those
also
are
did
great.
the Toonie Terrors of the killer clowns. But it's like cute little pinhead. Like they're cute. I kind of dig them. I haven't bought any of them, but I do want them simply to be the backdrop to my Scooby Doo characters.
I gotta tell you, I love the idea of the Scooby Gang encountering like these 70s, 80s classic horror icons in a way
Yeah,
that is, they don't need we don't need body parts splurching everywhere. I don't know if you could do that without maybe people would feel like it was cheapening the source material if they're
yeah.
encountering Leatherface and you've got like I don't know how you have Leatherface interacting with Scooby
You can see him with the chainsaw chasing Scooby, like the
yeah,
multiple doors hallway.
and just being confused or Jason like you've got it would be an interesting twist. I think that would be fun.
They did some pretty deep cuts there too. They did Crowley from Hatchet,
Yeah. Yes, he did. Uh,
and yeah, they did Pinhead, but they did the Captain from the Fog
yeah.
in that line, and Captain Spaulding from
And now they're getting into Beetlejuice. I think there's a couple of different Beetlejuices that are coming out.
yeah, yeah. They do have the
That look actually really
Beetlejuice.
good.
Yeah, they did an Elvira too.
Yes.
They did a
I
little cartoony Elvira.
so I'm trying to think offhand if they have done Krampus from the movie Krampus.
Oh,
I
I
think
don't think they did, but they should.
no, I thought they had done one
They
because
may have. They may have.
I kind of remember something where he had like the when you get to see his face full on and it's that creepy
Yeah,
sunken in
they
sand.
did a jigsaw that has
Oh
the
yeah,
mask that they could put on. They also did a 2-pack with American Werewolf in London, like the
yeah,
werewolf and the his friend who was decomposing.
very impressive.
And yeah, they do a good job on those. Like I said, I dig them. I haven't bought them, but one day I'll pick up a couple of them to sit behind Scooby and the gang.
So let's jump to Christmas stuff, or let's jump
Right,
ahead
you're
to
just like a retail manager. Here we go.
let's
Halloween's done.
it's
Jump to
over.
Christmas.
Let's
Skip Thanksgiving.
let's jump into the middle ground. We'll do Nightmare Before Christmas, a an amazing movie and with an amazing toy line that I remember
Yeah,
coming out.
absolutely. They're all fantastic. The NECA stuff, again, out of to
Yeah,
hit a home run with that.
but even the originals, like I remember when the movie first came out, and because their timing was on point,
Mhm.
uh, merchandise started hitting Toys R Us right off the bat, and I remember
Yeah.
it being really good. And I yeah, at the time I just wasn't able to collect as much stuff as I am now, but I remember seeing it was around the time that they weren't going out of business, but they were clearancing a lot of stuff. So like the movie had come out, they'd run its course. The toys have been sitting there, and I remember seeing that the gigantic Oogie Boogie, the one that glowed in the dark, of
Yes.
course, and I wanted it, but I didn't. I just didn't have the funds to make it to swing it, and I came back, and it had gone on clearance, and then it was gone, which was a shame.
Right.
I always wanted to get my hands on that because I love that character. Um, but
Yeah, Oogie Boogie is the one where I'll pick up the toys when I see
mhm,
them. The other characters, I'll pick them up and I'm like, man, I really want this whole line, but I'm not going to buy them.
mhm.
But I'll buy the Oogie Boogie. So even the bank, they made that Oogie Boogie
Yes,
coin
uh,
bank. Yeah,
it,
I have that as well.
it's tough
Um,
to not because they're all the designs are so striking. They're really well done. And if you get a company that's doing them well, like you said, NECA is doing a really good job with them so far. And that's kind of tough to do with a character like Jack Skellington because other companies have done it, and you can't. He's so thin.
yeah.
You can't do the legs properly, or you certainly can't joint the knees without fear of it
Mhm.
snapping immediately.
Yeah, I love that he comes with the stand most of the time. So you
Hmm.
can put him in those kind of dancing,
Yeah,
walking pose of what's this? What's this? It's great.
have they? I want to say at least some company has to have done the Pumpkin King version of him.
They did. I actually saw
Okay.
it the other day at
Mhm.
FYE.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Mhm.
We need one where it's where his head is on fire
Yeah,
because it's great, and
that's such a great scene.
that's one of those movies where I'm glad that it came out, and then it was gone, and people realized how amazing it was, and we have not seen a sequel. I don't want a
Don't
sequel.
touch it.
I
Don't
don't
touch
want
it.
a prequel. I don't want any like leave it alone. It's excellent. Just make more toys for it.
Yeah, they made a lot of the characters. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, there are a lot of crazy looking characters in those
Yeah.
movies all over the place. So
Mhm.
they've made a lot of them. The problem is most of them aren't designed in such a way that they would stand up.
That's true. It's it is very difficult. The way a lot of their because they suffer from that tiny feet syndrome where
Right?
you
It's the Justice League Unlimited all over again.
yep, you're going to need some like you said like with the jack, you're going to need some kind of stand. But you know who you won't need a stand for? The Four Horsemen Krampus.
No, we will not stand for it.
He does not require a stand.
And that
Uh,
is a great figure. And every year they put it out, and
yeah,
every year I come this much closer to buying it.
yeah, it's really impressive. I like that they were able to create this figure. And for anyone that might not be aware, Four Horsemen has been doing a line called Figura Obscura, and they pick something
Yeah.
just like the name implies, they pick something random and obscure and they turn it into an action figure. And one of the first ones they did was Krampus, and he looks awesome. It's the whole what if he was more of a demonic being than than a Santa Claus. And I think they've done two so far. There's one where it's mostly black. They've
Mhm.
gotten some reuse from bucks that they've already created. So I like that they're using that to make it a little bit easier to produce these kinds of figures. Um, and they look great and they're amazing. And the value is actually pretty good. And there it's not a pre-order. Pretty much every figure
Right.
obscura is already like ready to go, and you
I
order.
thought you were leaning over to pull one out. Like,
Oh no, I not not this time. My oh, you know what? I should have held on to the Anubis and the bat because those were another figure obscura. They're not holiday based, but
mine's just out there.
figures.
Yeah.
So good.
Who did the a couple of years ago? I remember seeing on Big Bad, shameless plug,
Mhm.
um, like Bad Santas.
Yes,
The
I do not remember the name of the company that makes them. So I
no, I
that
can't
company,
remember
but
either.
they they are really cool because I like the selection you get. You get just regular Saint Nicholas. You get
Mhm.
the random like buff Santa. You get
Right.
in multiple colors. Like I
There's
like
one
the
in camouflage. Yeah.
yes. There's a camo one. There's one that just comes in blue and white.
Uh-huh.
I like that I think this is part of Big Bad expanding itself to become a larger online presence, a larger toy presence, where now they're getting into how can we both support and maybe create our own lines of figures. Uh, they really, I don't know if they financially back this, but they're the ones taking like pre-orders for this, and they have it set
Yeah.
up where if they reach X, they have goals. So if it reaches X number of pre-orders, then that figure will become available at, at some point. Which is kind of fascinating because that's the same thing with not Monster Squad, uh the like
The
the
Monster
monster,
Force.
yes, the Monster Force toy line, like that really seems to be something that they put a whole lot of time and effort and back. So I don't know if it's like their own IP that they're backing, but
I don't know,
it's
could be.
like, yeah, they seem interested in
You
helping.
hear Big Bad? I know you're watching the show, so bring one of your executives on, and we'll hear
Yeah,
all about it.
we'll have a discussion. It'll be fun. Come on,
We'll
Joel.
chat.
Joel,
Yeah.
open an invitation to the show, and whenever you would like to come on and discuss the inner workings of Big Bad Toy Store, the better. That would be great.
I'll tell you, every time I've had to call customer service, whoever that gal is, and most of the time it sounds like the same person. She's wonderfully kind and
Mm.
knowledgeable. So
Yeah,
put her on. Let's
they
go.
they are great, and I've thoroughly enjoyed their 25-year anniversary and a lot of the offerings that they had. I ordered the black and red Mumra because he looks amazing. Uh, Also, the black and red dragon that they offered from the Four Horsemen looks
Mhm.
amazing. Almost as a no, just more amazing than their headless horseman. To jump back
Which looked great,
quick,
which I will have someday. Who was the company? What company was it who did the Rudolph, the old school stop motion line?
oh,
I have them. I have the Holly Jolly Christmas singing snowman. I have Yukon Cornelius
mhm.
and the dentist. Um,
That's a good question. I remember when those started popping up.
and they're awesome. They're fantastic figures. I love them, and I put them out in my office every Christmas. Um, I can't remember who did them though, but they are amazing.
I
I
love
love
that
them.
we hit this point. I love that we hit this point as both like a group of collectors plus toy companies who understand that. I guess it's maybe just taking advantage of the nostalgia bug, but
Yeah.
understanding that we watch these things as kids or as younger people, and if you just give us that, like replicate that, we'll
Mhm.
buy it. Like those figures, yeah, they look amazing because they look like they stepped right out of the claymation.
Right out of and every time I take them out of the box and I put them out
Mhm.
all in my head, I'm like, oh my golly. And it's the way to go. You have to, and the
Yeah,
land of misfit toys, they gave us the land of misfit toys. So
you can't ask for anything more than that, and that's great because it's even for as much as Christmas is the season of toys or for giving toys, the actual like holiday itself, up until recently, did not have a lot of holiday specific toys that came
right.
out for it. Even if it is something a little bit twisted, like those army military Santas, or like the claymation Rudolph, like you didn't really have anything like that before this. I think that felt like maybe the closest you got was those Christmas versions of the Muppet Babies that came out in the, the
Right.
mid '80s. We got Kermit and you had Fozzie and you had Miss Piggy, but they had the full on Christmas
Right.
too.
But in that spirit now, we get the Star Wars Black Series Christmas specials. Last year they gave us
Yeah.
the Ewoks and
Oh, you're right.
C3PO. Yeah.
They have gotten real on the ball with those. I'm super impressed with a lot of the
Yeah, they're
more
cool.
stuff
They're cool.
turning
The biker scout that looked like a sweater.
the I just we can't get away from blue Mandalorians though. Why did we get another blue Mandalorian with an ugly Christmas sweater? I'm like, no, just make them any other color. For the love of
Well,
Pete,
they look
why
good in
this
blue, I don't know.
something besides that? But um Chewbacca as the abominable snowman
Yeah,
from Rudolph, brilliant and phenomenal. You can't just knocked it out of the park.
The Bumble.
Yes, the Bumble Wookie. You can't get it. The only thing that would have made it better would have been if they instead used a Wampa,
Right. Wumble, wumble. He would go bumble, bumble, bumble.
which I guess he wouldn't really look that different.
No, you would
Just
just be a little more festive,
splash
probably.
more blue on him, and
And bigger, bigger.
I would be on board for that. But yeah, they have been killing. I love the gingerbread troopers
Right now,
because
all I want is the Wampa as
yeah, we haven't gotten Han as Yukon Cornelius yet, but it's
no,
got to
but
be.
you know, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan looks a lot more like Yukon Cornelius than Han does.
He does. I think that would work. You just have him tickling the Wampa until he falls off the edge.
I just say hello there. Except, you know what? It'd be a lot more. You know how Yukon would take his pickaxe and try to find gold? He'd stick it in the ice and go,
Oh,
no, you can't do that with a lightsaber.
yeah. Like Obi-Wan Khan, no.
He'd be like,
Nothing.
Obi-Wan Khan. Oh, we've derailed a little bit.
Just a little. I mean, it's still Christmas. It's Christmas time, but uh, so let's
I thought you were ready to break the way you said it's Christmas time. You almost it sounded like you were going to break into it. It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens.
we'll have to do that on another episode.
We don't do enough Run DMC, which
But,
they did do. Reaction did do Run DMC
oh,
figures.
you know, you're right. Super 7 has been pretty good about doing kind of holiday based or slight tweaks, especially with the reaction figures. This is probably easiest to
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
those. I know there's been a Christmas version of Optimus Prime that they put out in Christmas colors, which is pretty neat. You know what we don't see a whole lot of, or at least not that I can recall offhand, Valentine's Day style figures.
Pops this year did a really good
Yeah.
job with some Valentine's. I have one. It's
Mhm.
Batman.
Mhm.
Okay, so you know how Valentine candy has the that tin wrapper around
Yeah.
like a heart. So the pop figure looks like somebody had peeled the wrapper off, and the underneath Batman's made of chocolate,
Oh, that's
and
funny.
there's a bite. There's a bite out of it.
Thanks a lot, Selena.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah,
funny.
but they're really cool looking, and they're really well done. They did them this year.
I'd be curious to see like a company do some kind of take on Valentine's because I don't know if you could. I mean, aside from making
I'm trying
something,
to think of a character that would really lend himself or herself to, other than maybe Pepe Le Pew.
yeah, you've really just got Cupid. I don't know if we get like Hawkeye and Pink. I don't know what else you could do outside of that. Some
Yeah,
some
it'd
sort
be
of Arthur
Hawkeye.
style
It would have to
figure.
be Hawkeye. That little pair of wings.
He's got no choice. Yeah, we'll do a mashup. Yeah, you do Hawkeye. Or you take the Archangel figure. You put Hawkeye's head on him. You give him his arrows, and we're all set for Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Marvel.
it is done. Done. We're good. You know, you'd be harder pressed to come up with a Thanksgiving themed toy.
I would be. This is something that Transformers needs to tackle because give me a transforming turkey. I want a transforming turkey character and some sort of like candy corn style weapon. We've got a couple of bird characters floating around. I think they could probably manage it.
They can make it happen. They can make it happen. I think that is probably our cutoff point. Talking about turkey transformers, I think we've run the gauntlet on our holiday special
We have
toys.
we have run this dry. So I guess all right. So I guess
Dry turkey.
I gotta end this with a question. What
Okay.
what holiday that we haven't covered would you like to see a toy based on?
Oh. Hmm. What holiday would I want a figure based on? Well, I love the cereal characters, so I certainly would like to get a Lucky Charms
Oh,
figure
good choice.
on St. Patty's Day
That is a good
would
choice.
be a pretty good one. I think I would be on board for that. Some sort of special like St. Patty's Day release of
Mhm.
the Lucky Charms of Lucky in the Lucky Charms box. I think that's what I'd go with.
That is a good choice. I'm glad that you were keeping the breakfast cereal motif going because my answer to it was going to be I first I'm going to cheat.
Of
The
course.
the first would have been the Trix Rabbit for Easter.
Yeah.
I think because
Or April Fool's Day.
Oh, that would also work. But I want them pushed towards Easter because that's supposed to be like, you be nice to them and give them some tricks for the love of Pete. Just
Right.
one day a year, just let them have it. But also give me an Easter Bunny transformer because that would also be really funny. And there is already a rabbit transformer named Stampy that came out during Beast Wars Neo. Just recolor him, or make him brown if you want like a brown Easter Bunny. Give me
Right. If you want something realistic.
yeah, with like
Um,
get some egg grenades and you're good to go. So
like the Ninja Turtles had.
yeah, so that'll be oh my goodness, Usagi as the Easter Bunny would be hilarious. And the old 80s series absolutely had some sort of like Easter Bunny style character at some point because they
Yeah.
helped themselves, I'm sure. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Two Guys Talking Toys. If you have a holiday character that you think should be made into plastic, let us know. To get a hold of us on the Twitter, our handle is Two Guys Talking Toys. That is the number 2, no G after the talking. Same thing for Gmail. Our Instagram is 2G Talking Toys. Happy Halloween. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Take care, everybody.